Hey everyone, Jeff here from Next Level Sax. Today I'm thrilled to bring you a masterclass with one of the most versatile and creative woodwind players on the planet, Katisse Buckingham. If you've ever wondered what it takes to blend jazz, funk, and hip-hop with complete authenticity, this is the episode for you. Katisse has performed and recorded with legends like Herbie Hancock, Prince, Yellowjackets, and Anderson Paak, just to name a few. He's also the guy behind the iconic jazz flute solo from Anchorman. You've probably heard his playing in films like La La Land, Crazy Rich Asians, Minions, and so much more. In this masterclass, we cover a ton of ground. Everything from Katisse's saxophone gear and setup, his warm-up routine and tone concepts, how to make vocabulary your own and transform patterns into something fresh and personal, a jaw-dropping demonstration on practicing in odd time signatures, practical embouchure tips for sax players, and of course the full story behind recording the unforgettable Anchorman solo, plus a whole lot more. Katisse also runs a fantastic online program called Flute Tips for Sax Players, where he expands on his unique approach to doubling and tone production. Inside the membership, he goes in-depth on each concept with applicable exercises, full warm-ups with PDFs, and a section called The Basic Basics if you're just getting started on flute. He covers different styles, posts new videos regularly, and members get discounts on private lessons. It's an amazing resource if you're looking to unlock that flute side of your sound. That link is in the description below. Before we jump into this interview, I want to quickly mention a few resources that can really help you level up your playing. First, the Jazz Saxophone Standards Etude Workbook. Over 70 pages of complete etudes, exercises, and practice insights. Includes classics like All the Things You Are, Giant Steps Cherokee, Rhythm Changes, Blues, and Stella by Starlight. Plus, everything connects directly to our Next Level Sax lesson videos. Right now, you can grab it for just $1 with the promo code NEXTLEVEL. The link is in the description below. Next, check out the Modern Pentatonics Crash Course, a deep dive into unlocking modern jazz sounds with just 5 notes. You'll get a 95-page workbook with fully notated exercises for all saxophones, 5 HD video lessons where you can hear the lines, see the phrasing, and match the examples in real time, plus visual graphs and diagrams that make scale relationships and resolution paths more clear for those visual learners out there. All right, that was a lot. Let's dive in. Here's my full conversation and masterclass with the incredible Katisse Buckingham. Absolutely amazing. What a pleasure to have you here, Katisse. I've been a huge fan. One thing that I didn't mention when we got together here earlier is that when I was moving to LA, a good buddy of mine who's an incredible piano player and a huge fan of Anchorman, he said, you know, if you're moving to LA, you got to look up Katisse. And I was like, okay. And he's like, you know, because he played the flute solo on Anchorman. And so I remember going to see you play when I got to LA at the Baked Potato, and absolutely blown away by so many amazing things that you were doing, not only on the saxophone, but the flute and rapping and all of this, just absolutely incredible musicianship that's coming out of there. I want to jump right into the setup. I think I know what it is, but why don't you tell us?
This is a 1952 SBA super balanced action, 49,000 serial. Playing a Autolink Reso Chamber, opened up to about a 6-star by John Yoakum. Playing a D'Addario Select Jazz 3 medium reed on here, filed. And it's actually kind of cool. The lig here is off of a C Melody sax from 1915. Wow. So it's over 100 years old. This is the old brass ligature. It's kind of funny. So yeah, it's a little Frankenstein-y setup, but it works. And altos, I'm playing a couple of Mark VIs, both 1958, 78,000 serial numbers, one silver, one lacquered. Playing on a Gasal and Barry, Yamaha and soprano. So, and then flute, piccolo, alto flute, bass flute, ethnic flutes. We don't need to waste time on that saxophone thing, but those are all my things I'm attempting to keep up with in my life.
Tell me about, I noticed that you've got a lot of modifications on the horn.
Yeah, I do. I got really big hands. Double extra large, big old floppy hands. So I find everything's really kind of cramped when I'm playing a horn without and some epoxies and stuff. It looks a little ugly, I know, but it's we don't all wear the same size shoe. So, and not only that, but I try here to have a little bit more homogenized hand position, especially left hand, with the flute, because I spend so much time on the flute. So to just kind of essentially try to mirror this a little bit here, instead of everything I play, well, this is here, and then piccolo's here, and then, after a while, my hands just kind of go, no, that doesn't feel very good. So again, I just try to play like a little straighter, fingers, just, again, to mirror this and this. So that's why I've got these little risers and stuff on there for myself.
And then when you get it looked at or repaired, it's kind of a specialist, really, that's got to kind of know what to do with that,
yes
right?
and no. I mean, the pads reaching, touching the keys are no different than anything else. If anything, my flute having a couple of mods on there, that's more because a couple of them cover the open holes. So, those might have to come off to make sure those pads are sealing. But here, yeah, there's nothing really out of the ordinary. I know a lot of folks have various risers on keys and stuff. It's just to help to keep hands from feeling cramped and kind of jammed into a little space. It helps.
Did you mention what reed?
Playing a D'Addario Select Jazz, filed 3 medium. Okay. Two medium on alto and 2 hard on Barry. And amazing. Soprano, a Hemke, all from the D'Addario family. Yeah.
Now, I've got a lot of questions, and I usually forget what I'm going to say. So I've got them written down here on the phone. So again, if you see me looking at the phone, it's because I'm reading my questions, not because I'm texting somebody. Let's stay on the gear side of things. Do you have a different setup when you go into the studio? Because I know you do a lot of studio recordings, and we'll get into that as well. Is there something that you change up for certain things?
Fantastic question. No. I'm total princess in the pea. I play too many different instruments to change each one. I can't do it. It would drive me berserk. So I try to have a setup that is flexible, that kind of modulates. Like, I don't want to have a sound that's dark at all volumes, at all, approaches, or bright in the same way. I want to be able to change. I want to be able to have different colors throughout and not change setups. That's the best I can do. If I change, it's going to be more of a moving target than it already is, being a doubler and switching, because it's hard enough to kind of get on the instrument and go, okay, let me feel centered on this, as opposed to a player who plays tenor saxophone all the time or flute all the time. And, they could really be absolute zero all the time. I don't have that luxury. So sometimes things get away from me a little bit as a doubler and a session player. So yeah, I try to keep the same setup. So if I have my alto right here, I'll play a little Paul Desmond thing, and then something that's going to be a little bit more toward, Maceo, even approaching Sanborn, but not quite that bright because I have a hard rubber setup playing a Meyer. But no changes in reeds, ligatures, mouthpieces, nothing.
One thing that we didn't talk about gear-wise is, tell me about this pedestal thing that you've got.
Oh, I don't know if anybody can see this. This was inspired during COVID because I did a lot of sessions at home during COVID. And I did all of Minions 2 at home, from home. Minions 1 we did at East West. And anyway, so the point is, if I'm recording at home and I'm stacking up a sax section or something, I'll play baritone and I'll have it on the stand because I'm too skinny to hold that thing around my neck. So I'll have it on the stand. And then I was, playing tenor, practicing tenor. And I'm not a big fan of this. I don't feel like this is very comfortable, the side. If I'm standing, I'm going to play with the horn in the middle. And so I had a little alto stand here and just a couple of little packing foam things. And I still have some tension on the neck strap there, right? Just a bit. But I noticed as I was playing, after a while, the thing that would get the most fatigued is really my, neck and shoulders and stuff from the weight of the horn. Not so much even chops, hands, ears, brain. That was first. So this just gives me just a little bit of tension here. So I just have enough to I feel like I'm holding it, but most of it is resting there. So again, it's analogous to the Barry stand type of thing. And then alto, if I have my alto here, it would just sort of rest between thighs on, just like that. Plus it's lighter. So that's what it is. So you can see too, I can be hands-free like this and it's kind of nice. But yeah, I just kind of get used to it. I mean, I'll play plenty of things in the studio where, I'm in a section, whatever. But I recently played on a record and we did 3-hour sessions in a row on a record. And I brought this just because I knew it was going to be 10 hours of playing, I mean, I know 3 times, I know it's 9, but, with setting up and whatever and everything, and we were in there 10, 11 hours and there was overtime too. And I felt much fresher kind of setting this thing up like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw something like that was I went to University of Miami, and the Miami Sax Quartet, the Barry player, came out on stage with a standing version.
With it like a peg.
With the peg thing. And I had never seen anything like that.
If I had to do that, I would have a peg.
Yeah.
Because it's brutal. I can't do it. It's just like, it's so fatiguing, man. I'm in awe of people who can hold that thing around the neck. I just can't do it.
Well, it's hard enough.
It is. It is. I mean, alto flute, bass flute, those things, you got to watch just, your thumb and make sure that you're watching that to not strain yourself.
Right.
It's important.
What does your daily warm-up look like these days? And do you have any must-do long tone or overtone exercises?
I do. Both of those things. Yes. Warm-up would be, some slow scales, everything very, very, very much with the tuner. The beginning of the warm-up stuff, no metronome. It's just about sound and pitch and just dialing, just trying to get around the instrument. And yeah, so I'd have a few slow scales and then a few overtone scales, and then a couple of exercises where it's a combination of slow moving things. And some stuff Ben Wendell showed me, a good buddy of mine, and I'll do that every day. And probably my most extensive warm-up every day in terms of log time would be my flute warm-up, which is very extensive. And with the little breaks in between, it's probably 30, 35 minutes of just a warm-up. And that kind of gets me at center and I'm ready to play. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the flute warm-up is a big deal. So between the two, what I would do though, is I'm very big at home on switching back and forth. Flute, sax. It might be alto and flute, soprano, whatever I have to play coming up, it might be more on that. I might do my sax warm-up on alto or tenor or whatever, depending on if I play tomorrow, the next day or something. But it's always mixed with flute back and forth. So for me, I'm kind of like, I got it right here. Saxophone is bottom lip, really. I mean, top lip's not doing much, not letting air out. Top lip is flute to me. That's kind of really what's driving the bus. Playing saxophone is sort of a break from, flute chops, and then vice versa. Flute's a bit of a break from that.
Mm. And when you're doing the overtone stuff, is there a specific overtone that you target more than others? I
know Ben probably has his whole warm up in his thing, but I mean, I'll show you one of the things would be just like starting just a scale going down. I do that 3 times slowly. Again, like I said, Ben showed me this. So, then doing overtones from there, sounding 1 octave above. Definitely go buy Ben's course. A dear friend of mine of like 25 years.
Oh, Ben's amazing.
He's an absolute genius. And then octave plus a fifth. No octave key. And when I first started that, as most everybody does, they get to hear. And it cracks right at E flat to play that thing. And then you get a little more adept in terms of the arc of the tongue and whatnot. And alto feels different to tenor. Soprano feels different. So, if I crack a note here and there, that's kind of part of the warm-up, really. It's not like an athlete. I don't consider musicians athletes necessarily, but we're trying to tune our body to perform at a certain level. So warm-ups are important. It's not every day that you feel completely loose and limber. Some days you would, and other days it's like, oh my, my leg is there's stretching and it feels, same thing here. Especially flute too. Like some days it's just like, woo, great. And other days it's like, I have to go through the entire warm-up to feel even like 90% because it's just feeling stiff. Maybe I played a lot yesterday. Maybe I played a lot of saxophone yesterday or something. And it's always just a bit of Sisyphusian pushing that ball up and trying your best. And then there's like a... and all the way down to the bottom. And again, he showed me this stuff that an oboe player, I think, showed him that. And then after that, I would put it down and grab the flute and do that bit of warm-up and kind of go back and forth. And then I would just try to get around the instrument, see how my reed's behaving. Again, it feels different on alto or soprano or whatever, but maybe try to play some chords. And just some arpeggios and things like that. I know it's going to feel very amusical, but sometimes I'll do just like an octave displacement, 2-octave thing, kind of like. Sometimes gets away from you, but that's kind of part of the warm-up thing. Just, some reasons will do it better than others. Sometimes it feels great, and I get to the altissimo area, and maybe because I'm not going to practice really on really good reeds. I'm going to play on okay reeds, because I feel guilty and I want to save it for something. I probably should have gotten a better one for today. I don't like cracking notes, but that's kind of part of the warm-up thing is doing that. Sometimes it might be. Ah, nice. I'm kind of similar as the flute. I just try to see if I can get around the instrument and have some flexibility and stability. And, that's kind of my goal, is to just get around the instrument like that. And then, I have various little kind of chromatic-y bits or little patterns or things I've been working on. Sometimes I'll take like a little lick off of a solo and then just try to expand it. All of our great hero, Michael Brecker, talks about how he would take a line and kind of change it and make it into something else. He would also talk about how, at least later, that he just didn't have the patience to sit and do whole solo transcriptions and stuff. And he really just, if you look at his practice books and just hear him talk, it's really about kind of creating lines, creating his own vocabulary out of things. So for me, for instance, I remember hearing a Brecker solo and he played something like, I was like, whoa, that was really cool. And I was like, whoa, that's really neat. And wanted to grab that little lick. And sometimes it's surprising how simple some of these things are, And it's like, it's Three Blind Mice. It's so simple, right? But what a neat line when it's played well in context like that. And so I'd work on that a little bit and then maybe say, well, that goes down. How can I make it go up? And I like the last part. Or so that one line, that little germ, kind of grew into a couple of other figures. So if something's in major, maybe try it in minor or put a flat 5 on it. If I was playing something in major thirds up, maybe do it in minor thirds or something. It was that. Something like that. So I love patterns. I like intervals and little scale fragments and things as connective tissue. Think of them as kind of the atom of whatever it is you're playing. So if you're soloing and playing, then you stumble upon some of these things. It's almost like having a little blob of that paint on your palette. Purple. You could paint with it. You're soloing along and then so it's like, fourths, and then maybe you worked on, and it just kind of comes out as a natural thing, almost like a vocabulary word that you had on a word a day calendar that you were surprised that came out in natural speech. You just said it and you weren't thinking about it, right? And that's kind of fun when some of those little ideas just kind of become a part of things. I'm really not a cadenza player. Like I don't have anything prepared. I really don't. I think some players practice and play so they really kind of know what they're going to play, and then others practice and so they have no idea what they're going to play. I'm more on that side, and then there's every gradient in the middle. Because to me, it's like really a dialogue. I mean, I really playing with others, that's when I get ideas. That's when I feel compelled to play. It's almost like my default thing is just silence. If I just go, let's play something, I'm just like, well, what? You know what I mean? That's honestly how I feel. And then so I would have to, noodle around maybe on a tune or a groove or something. Or once I play a couple of things, hopefully that interval grouping. It's like, okay, well, there was some triads and stuff in there. So that becomes the little blob of paint that I'll start to paint with, and that'll give way to something else, and that'll give way to something else. But that's just kind of the result. And that's fine with me. That's just kind of, everybody's different. Everybody resonates differently. Yeah. And that's the way that's the way I hear improvisation, is sort of a dialogue. It's off of what I heard. And yeah. So groove and time are a big part of that.
Yeah, and I think the idea of giving yourself cues when, to spur on ideas, and that's what you're doing naturally when you find an interval.
That's a great
cue,
way to put it.
And I find that really helps me. If I'm the same way, if somebody just says, "Okay, play," and it's like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
But if I think, okay, for me, sometimes I'll even think about how would somebody else play. Which I might think, okay, how would Chris Potter play a funk groove?
Totally.
And then inevitably, it's not going to be like that.
I completely agree with you.
But it gets me going.
I do that.
Yeah.
For a lot of times, I'm like, what would Cannonball do?
Yeah.
What would Cannonball do? He'd play musically. He wouldn't play any licks. He wouldn't really repeat himself. He'd play something funky that grooves. It's everything. He's everything to me. I mean, that's like a complete musician, the absolute pinnacle of improvisation. So even just, I love that idea of what would they do? Chris Potter's the same. And, it's not about sounding like them. It's about like, how would they approach this? And that. Just even having that inspiration of their mastery can help mere mortals like me to try to, they're going to groove. It's going to be pocket. And they're going to play some stuff that's harmonically in, and then surprisingly move left or right after they've established something. It's going to be motivic. It's going to be interesting intervals. Like all of those things are absolutely top of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I've got a question here. Speaking of time and rhythm, I've got here, you often blend intricate rhythmic phrasing into your improvisation. How do you practice time feel and rhythmic precision?
Okay, well, I have a little drum kit, and I'll work on little grooves on the drums. I'm no great drummer or anything, but mainly the stuff I work on drums is odd times. I work on odd times and drums mainly just to kind of get it in my body. As a single note player, it's a little hard to kind of absorb and get that stuff going. So I remember years ago playing in a group where they had some tunes in like 11/8, 15/16. I couldn't hear that stuff at all, but I liked it. So a lot of stuff I work on are things that I'm terrible at, but I like. You know what I mean? That's kind of the impetus for that. And that was one. So for instance, 11/8, like 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2, right? So Turkish and Balkans is very common there. It's not here, and I certainly never heard it before. And I was like, and soloing over that is a whole different animal, because I was pretty good in maybe 7/4, 3/4, 4/4, maybe 5 and stuff. But when you broke it into just eighth notes and you no longer had a quarter note that split in half, that was a big challenge. So I started working on that. Then 13/8, 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2. Or 15/8, 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. So like 8 and 7. So be bum be bum boom bum be boom be boom be boom be dee dum bum and then work it out in the drum kit. So one big deficiency, though, in my playing that I kind of really just been working on for about maybe a year or something was 9/4. And I just realized like I just didn't have that together at all. 7, very comfortable, could play over the bar, felt great. 9 sucked. It was not happening. And so essentially a bar 4, bar 5. So I was trying to take what would be a 2/3 clave, like everybody knows, 1, 1, 4, 4, and then take that last click and move it 1 beat to the right. So 1, and try to work it out of my kit. Put on a click, maybe just a click every 9 beats. And if I was really feeling good, maybe every 18 beats, and just try to get a little groove going, and then maybe like conceptualize a tune, sing through a little bit. So, right. So essentially putting those weights on the barbell of I've got to keep a groove going, stay in time, and try to kind of, hum and conceptualize what's going on here. Essentially train my brain to get that invisible rhythm section going in my head. And so that, like I said, this is something I would work on at home, not something I'd perform. So that's why it's a little nerve-wracking doing it here. But so like here's 9 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bar 4, bar 5. And then I try to get off the kit, grab my horn, and put that click on and try to play over the tune. Nothing too fancy, but try to line up with it. I'm always aware of like, I got to the downbeat too early, I got there too late, or, oh, that was pretty good. Try to stay on track, almost like walking a balance beat. It's like, okay, that's center, and see how it goes. And the wheels come off the bus. And a lot of times I'm learning more when I screw up rather than even when I'm lining it up, because sometimes I'll try to play a little hemiola thing, and then try to line that up. Because I don't want to be just leaning on the rhythm section, whether it's 4, 4, 7, 9, 11, 8, whatever. I want to be bringing my own sense of pocket and time. And I mean, we could go from there into 18 beats, click every 18 beats, if
yeah.
Okay, sure. So,
and what app is this?
I'm just it's just tempo, metronome.
Yeah, because
just a basic metronome.
I know sometimes it's a challenge to find metronomes that allow you to do some of the more compound or complex.
Right. I do have another one where we could do a little bit of 11/8, and awesome. That would be one that does this. This is just a click. It's at 120 BPM. The other one was at 240. This is at 120, so half of that with 9 clicks and a click only on 1. So this is going to be. So I try to sit with the thing for a while and try to get comfortable with it. And then know that when I go to half as many beats, nothing has changed. Nothing. It's exactly the same tune, same duration of chords. I'm the same, but there's just less indication there. And that's both nerve-wracking and gives you a sense of calm as well. So, sitting with these, it kind of, you first put it on, the click, you're like, there's no groove there at all. With you know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm trying to get here. So I'm getting a little bit ahead, getting a little excited here, but let's try it again. Yeah. So like I said, this is not something I perform, so it's a little nerve-wracking doing it here, but I'm trying to stay in center. I'm always aware if that was way early, that was late, oh, that was pretty good. And so I'm building that groove, that subdivision in my head. That's the idea. And just since we're on this, if you wouldn't mind, maybe we could do a little bit of that 11/8 that we talked about.
Absolutely.
So this would be a full complement. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, boom, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, boom. So that's 11/8 notes, and same process. I'm very confident with this one. I did this one years ago. I haven't done it in a while, but on the drums. And when I play it with a click, I'll put a click on, click, or I'll put a click where it displaces every, beat. So I'll put on a click where it's, you know what I mean? That's a good one too. But so just so everybody could hear what the basic subdivision that's going on in my head. So that's with the full complement, but I'm not going to play it with that. Here's just one.
Sounds tricky. Hey there, sorry to jump in real quick while you're watching, but if you've been digging this video so far, I've got something I think you'll really want to check out. Let me ask you this. You've studied the theory, you've learned the licks, you've played the heads, and even transcribed the solos, but your own playing still isn't locking in like the greats. Why not? Most players think they need more vocabulary or fancier substitutions to sound better, but in reality, the missing piece, the thing that actually makes someone sound like a jazz player, isn't more notes. It's tone, articulation, and time feel, and that's exactly what this course is built around. Welcome to the Jazz Saxophone Blueprint, mastering tone, articulation, and time feel. This is my complete step-by-step course to help you build your sound, style, and swing feel your playing has been missing. This isn't just a random collection of lessons, it's the result of decades of study, performance, and teaching, all distilled into a structured system that has helped saxophonists finally sound the way they know they're capable of. Inside, you'll get access to over 25 in-depth video lessons, no fluff, just the exact methods I use with students and pros. Full demonstration videos so you can hear and see exactly how each concept works. Downloadable PDFs for every exercise, phrase, and concept. No guesswork. A complete course workbook that includes all exercises in one place, plus a key insights section for every lesson so you can absorb the most important takeaways and track your progress clearly. You'll learn how to develop a resonant, focused tone through overtone and tuning exercises, and how to build a swing and time feel through articulation, breath accents, pivot patterns, and blues phrasing. This course is designed to meet you where you are, and it's totally self-paced. You can move freely between lessons and sections at any time, but I've also organized everything in a clear progression to help you get the most out of the material. Plus, you'll be able to download a full book of 200 jazz phrases over the most important chord progression in jazz, the 2-5-1. This is a lifetime study of vocabulary with bebop phrasing, altered dominant ideas, and even a built-in practice tracker to help you stay on course. You'll also get bonus lessons like my 5-step improvisation method, a major chord and scale workout, blues phrasing and how to keep things rhythmically interesting, a full melodic breakdown of blue bossa, bebop enclosures, approach notes, and sidestepping sequences. Whether you're an adult learner getting back into playing the horn, a serious high school player preparing for auditions, or a professional looking to refine your core sound, this course gives you the foundation to play musically, confidently, and authentically. So if you're tired of guessing, if you're tired of sounding almost there, click the link and join me inside the Jazz Saxophone Blueprint. Let's make your playing feel as good as it sounds in your head. I'll see you inside the course.
And then half of that. I think. Oh, half. That was a third of that. That was so. That was a quarter of that, I meant. Like it works in, when it doesn't work, I'm probably learning more than when it does work. So again, it's a little nerve-wracking doing it here because that's something I wouldn't be performing. But I'll try to play over the bar. I'll put on the full complement real quick again. And so then I might get an idea of stepping away from the tune and just try to play some basic figures to try to cement that. And still be able to hear where you're playing 3 over that, playing groups of 2 or 4, and then that one, it's tricky, this one, because again, it doesn't swing. It's not, it's not a quarter note broken in half, whether it's 5/4, 3/4, whatever. So this is challenging stuff. So what's the point in all this? I don't get to play it very often, right? But hopefully it informs, the situations that I am in, and playing a 4/4 and stuff, and playing. And just I have different things going on in my head than just say ba-do bam ba-do ba-do be-dee dum ba ba-bo-dee ba-do dee do be-dee dum. But it's like I'm kind of hearing things a little left field here and there. Again, it'd be a little better if it was a rhythm section than me by myself. My friend told me a story one time when years and years and years ago. I think it was like even the Hal Galper Gorilla Band with Michael Brecker, and he went to hear him. I think at Ronnie Scott's, this English guy, way back, early 80s, whatever. And he said Brecker did this unbelievable cadenza, just staggering, beautiful, right? And then he went the next day and he played the exact same cadenza, note for note. Incredible. I don't have that in me. Like if I could have a magic wand, that's not, I don't hear things that way. You know what I mean? I just don't. And he's, my hero, of course, it's amazing. I need to be able to do that. But having like this kind of amazing worked out thing, that's just like perfect etude thing. It's like, I just don't hear things that way,
Right. And if it's not inspiring to play that way either, there's no reason to force yourself into that box.
I'd rather play much, much more simply and just have something. Of course, he could too, and always came in fresh. And, it's not like, I'm not saying he's worked everything out he played. I just mean, even having that gear,
right?
I don't really have that gear. I don't really have it. It's like I said, that's the bass line. The bass line is nothing. And then what do you feel like playing? Well, here's the groove. Even just clapping starts to make me want to play. And, it's kind of like the inertia of it. And when there's not that, the ball stops. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of the way I'm made. I don't know.
Well, it's working for you.
Oh, good. I'm trying. Believe me, I'm trying. I mean, I hate it when anything gets away from me here. You want to sound perfect, but I'm trying to give an idea of what I might be working on. And sometimes it ain't perfect. It falls apart a little bit.
Well, yeah, that's the growing pains. And when you were speaking about how does this actually apply if you're not playing this type of groove out in the wild, so to speak, it made me think about, it's just like athletes that train at high altitudes.
Totally. Absolutely.
They do it so that when they go to sea level, it's easier.
Absolutely.
Right? It's the same thing. When you play that 4/4, it's like, okay, I've got so much more available.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Even just hearing, even for articulation. Like little groups of twos and threes, and having done it in there, it kind of occupies a different space than everything just. You hear hemiola's different. It's just different. Yeah, the athlete thing is a great analogy with that. Absolutely.
Let's touch on a couple of the other aspects of your career. What are some of your early influences?
Oh, wow. Well, when I was about 12 years old, my mom was a musician, and she had a boyfriend who was still good friends of mine. And he was a jazz guitar player. So the first records I got then, or the records I got then when I was 12 were like Miles Smiles, Charlie Parker record, Weather Report, Procession, Dexter Gordon, just like a handful of great things like that. Some modern stuff, and In a Silent Way, things like that. And so, but early on, I mean, my first record when I was a little kid was the Allman Brothers, Eat a Peach, when I was a little kid. I grew up on classic rock and stuff. And that's when I got that record when I was like 4 or 5. But I've always been like super into music. My folks were kind of folk musicians a bit. So I grew up on Crosby, Stills, Nash, and the Mamas and the Papas, and, Leonard Skinner and Southern rock. I lived in Maryland as a little kid and grew up in Venice Beach. But then got into hip hop and started breakdancing when I was like 12, 13. And so first heard like Run DMC and Curtis Blow. And so I was getting about the same time. So for me, I'd be listening to Run DMC and Miles Davis and maybe Holt's the Planets or Bach. It's like, it was, or, my good friends when I was a little kid, when I was like 13, 14, were Cuban. So I grew up with, Cachao and Chocolate and Fajardo, all the great, Cuban stuff. So even like long before I even played the flute, because I didn't start playing the flute till I was like 18, I was hearing like all of that stuff, like, wow, I thought that was great. And the thing that I love about that music so much is it's so rhythmically based. And even if it's harmonically simple, some of it. And so that just like got me. And same with hip hop. But then I loved harmonically complex stuff as well. That kind of grabbed me. So, from there, all through high school, I was listening to all that jazz stuff I mentioned, but I was listening to Steel Pulse, and I was listening to The Police, and I was listening to Tribe Called Quest, and so now it's like, I love good music, and I love Miles. Miles is my hero. Miles and Joe Zawinul are my heroes, but I love them more than I love James Taylor, or more than I love AC/DC, or, you know what I mean? Or Mozart. It's like, it's music, and I listen to a lot of things. And so you'll find there's some people, certainly in the jazz realm. I don't call myself a jazz musician. I have too much respect for Joe Lovano to call me, but I will call myself a creative musician, and certainly a studio musician. I do a lot of that. But yeah, I play lots of different stuff. Sometimes those folks who are, say they're a jazz musician, they will only listen to that. They won't listen to anything else. That's fine. Sometimes they'll listen to all kinds of stuff, but they'll only play that. I play lots of stuff. I love the challenge of a studio session. I really do. It's like, I don't know what style it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be. It's like, I can cover it. Yeah, I can play anything. And that was necessity is the mother of invention. When I was a kid, my mom was a yoga teacher. We didn't have a lot of money. And then when I was in my 20s, she moved out, and I just kept this little rental we had in Venice. So I had no money. And so when I was 21, 22, and somebody said, hey, could you play whatever? Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, I can play that. And that kind of developed into like, yeah, I really can play that. There's not a lot of those things. There's a small portion I'd like to play live. Live is just a few things. But studio, hell yeah, I'll knock out anything. And I love it. It's fun. It's fun.
I have to ask this. How often do you get asked to play the Anchorman flute solo?
Oh, the solo from it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. To actually play it? Not really.
No.
Not really. I mean, I think I could probably squeak out a few bo da 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 da. It's kind of in the back of my head. But actually, to talk about that, we're talking about different styles. And this parlays into saxophone too, and certainly studio work. If I think about that solo, so I did that 20 years ago. It was 20 years ago. Amazing. So there was sort of, just kind of silly, fun, 60s Isaac Hayes type groovy stuff, right? And then, so, certainly just straight ahead, medium. And then there was like Latin things. So I was pulling from lots of different styles and colors to be able to put that crazy solo together. And I improvised the whole thing. Nothing was written out. So, but had I not been into Latin music or funk or hip hop or straight ahead swing or whatever it was, fusion, or even just, kind of overblowing and Ian Anderson and that, then there will be holes in there that aren't there. And so that is kind of a nice, I don't know if it's a microcosm or macrocosm of studio playing, where the thing arcs through that. One person told me one thing about that solo that I thought was kind of neat, because I'm very proud of it. I love Will Ferrell, and I was so stoked to be part of that. He said, music in comedy only works when it's really bad or really good. And if you remember at the beginning, he's terrible. It's just, it's just awful noises. And then he starts ripping. So it has kind of this whole arc of funny. And that's why I think it kind of translated, I think.
And what was that session like though? Were they like, okay, just, like go wild?
Well, no, I actually was coming in to replace somebody who tried to do it and it didn't come off that great. So everything was in place there, and he kind of called me in to pinch hit on this and said, no, it's not working. So I came in to do it, and the producers were there. Adam McKay was there, and it was me and him, another producer, and the composer. And they just had 2 pages of chord changes, and it's like, all right, well, it starts out, I wasn't even looking at a picture, starts out just kind of playing, start on beat 2 and play a riff that's out on beat 3 of the following bar. I'm like, okay. Out, and then make sure that lines up good. All right, so this next thing, just noodle something, starts right on beat 4 and is out on beat 4 of the next bar. You just that's it. It's marking space and noodling. It's like, all right, that marks the picture. Then it's like, all right, well, now it's like medium swing for 20 bars. And it's like, all right, let's go. Whatever. All right, so now it gets really fast. Now the stop time. So we just did it in pieces to make sure that it fit the picture. And unlike a lot of music where, the performer or the actor is that one's like synced. It's lined up. Sometimes you're like, this looks terrible. That one looks great. And it's because they took care to make sure. But I had not one note written. I had 2 just chords. That's it. And just kind of noodled it out. So we did it in sections. And then at the end, they were just like, yeah, just go nuts. He's running around the club and just go crazy and play effects, play whatever you want. Oh, make a noise that sounds like he's lighting a thing on fire. I was just like, okay, just overblew something. And then he's play an arpeggio, whatever. So there was good direction, but everything was, everything was just improvised. It was fun. I had no idea it was going to turn into jazz flute. I just left the session going, I don't know, it's just something,
right.
Whatever.
Tell me about your flute offerings and what you're doing as far as educational materials with the flute.
Oh, awesome. Well, 2.5 years ago, I started doing a few little clips. All of a sudden, I decided to post something on social media, a little 20-second clip to say, hey, for doublers, for saxophone players who maybe are struggling a little on the flute, I was like, this is a good way to get a good octave happening. And just a little 30-second thing. And people were really stoked. So maybe a few weeks later, I posted one and was like, this is kind of the way vibrato is made, and just a little thing. And your pitch can be better handled like this, or whatever. And I made 6 or 7 of them. And they're all just 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever. And then we had a crazy rainstorm and hail for 4 days. We rarely have that in LA. But we had that 2 years ago or something. And I just was home. And so I ended up taking each one of these ideas of, pitch and different, colors and range and tone production, how to play proper octaves, vibrato, swing and jazz tonguing, all of these things. And I expanded each one into 15, 20, 25-minute videos each and put together this entire thing. I was first calling it Flute Tips for Sax Players. And so now it's Flute Tips for Sax Players, complete and expanded. I just put on a 20-minute video on piccolo. I just put on there a few weeks ago, if you want to, as an improviser, not to play, Sousa marches or anything, but just to pull it out and blow on the thing, and talked about the difference between that and flute. Anyway, so that's on my website, katisse.com. You can find all that stuff there. And it's for everybody, but it's really designed for doublers. So it's all the pitfalls that I dealt with as somebody trying to play saxophone and flute and trying to get them going, and all of the things with the saxophone that can ruin your flute chops, all those muscles, too much air, heavy fingers, all stationary embouchure when it should be really, like an amoeba, and it should be moving around. There's a lot of things that are really bad for your flute, really terrible, coming from playing, reed instruments. And so I try to help mitigate that and try to help players get that happening. And there's enormous, my whole warm-up I mentioned is in there. All of that with PDFs and me playing it and explaining stuff. Each video is time marked, so you could go through and see every single point, second by second, not second by second, but, at this point, it's like I mentioned whatever, this, and then how to do a glissando. And so, yeah, that's that. And I'm very proud of it. So check it out.
It sounds amazing. It makes me want to play flute.
Great. It certainly help doublers, to avoid pitfalls on it.
Oh, that's something I need. I'm atrocious on flute and
You
clarinet.
cannot play good flute via saxophone. You have to have it in its own lane. Like, you just since we're mentioning this, I mean, the first thing a doubler would play octaves just with just air. They would just overblow and get air and not realize. The smallest amount of air should make a sound with no air noise. And even when you're going like something that sounds really overblown, I'm still using just a tiny bit of air, just a little bit. Because I feel like overblown stuff, and I kind of do that stuff a lot because I play like on heist movies or whatever, and I have to do some, like that kind of crazy stuff. It's still very much in control. It sounds crazy, but it's very replicable and it's very much in control.
I love it. Let's shift gears. I always like to ask gig horror stories.
Oh, wow.
So anything that comes to mind?
I remember this one thing. Luckily, nothing really happened with it, which is great. But I was doing a gig in West Hollywood with this Latin jazz band, great players. And we're hanging out. And there wasn't an actual stage. There was just a stage area. And we were on a break. So my horn was on the stand there. And we're just like over there having a drink or something. And this one lady kind of comes in. She's got a purse and she's looking around, whatever. She looks over and she tosses the purse, the strap of the purse, around the neck of the horn, thinking that it's just props, which it's understandable, I guess. There was no band playing at the time. And I just went, no. Like I just went over to I was like, no. She said, I'm sorry. I'm like, no. All I could say was no. No. Come on.
Well, at least she was apologetic.
She was apologetic, and it's kind of understandable, I guess. You see these things and you think it's a coat rack, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know
but
about that.
I don't know if that's a horror. It's just kind of silly,
You've worked across classical, jazz, and hip hop. What do you think all great improvisers have in common, no matter the style?
Wow. That's a great question. I think you want to listen to the environment you're in, the musical environment, more than you're listening to yourself in a way. And the same thing with a metronome. Listen through you to that, and hopefully let the thing that you're doing be more automatic. Let the thing that you're doing be a product of that, rather than, because I think sometimes, and I'll see your students do that too. Sometimes they'll have a click and then they'll play, and then the time just kind of gets wonky. And I'm like, you're listening to yourself more than you're listening to the click. So, or listen to the group or listen to the drummer, just like really like listen. I think that's the thing that makes things good. And then you bring your own offering, you bring your own sense of time. I mean, you want to be able to hopefully have a discernible pulse in what you're doing. And then you offer that. And then you kind of agree, oh, that's where you're feeling it. Well, I'm kind of feeling it here, but I'll go with you. It's like a dance. You see like, the good tango couple dancing. They're not pulling each other around. There's a sense of flow. The sense, oh, we're going that way. Well, we're going that way. And I think that's really it. Be empathetic. Be empathetic. Don't come in muscling everything. Try to work on your stuff, sorry, keep doing, but you're at home. Working on basic fundamentals that later will hopefully be second nature. Well, I don't think a really, really good orator or somebody who's a really great conversationalist necessarily is thinking about syntax and thinking about their vocabulary. It's that flow. And you hear that. It's so captivating. It's like, wow, I just listen to them talk forever. That's a good improviser to me. They hopefully have enough. And everybody's got, limitations. There's some people who just have super ripping hands and others don't. Not everybody's Michael Jordan in that way. You know, I'm not. But hopefully I'll groove, you know, and be an asset in that way. I'm not like, I don't really hear tons and tons of notes. I don't hear just blazing fast stuff. You know, I almost hear less. I almost hear like a deconstructed thing. That's kind of, because I mean, I love Stanley Turrentine, you know, I love Sanborn, I love Maceo so much. We talked about Brecker, okay? Like, I'm an enormous Brecker fan. I've listened to everything. But one of the solos that always comes to mind for me is a solo on Radioactive, on Steps Ahead, Magnetic. Like, it's just, that's the same cat who plays Chromosome. Are you kidding? That's what's most impressive to me. It's just, and it's not just about being metronomic. It's about how you're pulling the not nobody pushed a quantize button on that. He is like, it's taffy. And those subtle rhythmic things that, you know, Sanborn, laying back like that, that's what builds like beautiful tension. And then the subtle release of rhythmic tension, that's the thing that really moves me. It's not super harmonically crazy hip stuff. And it's not, it's like, I don't hear it. My fingers don't really do it. And that's okay. At some point in your life, you have to just kind of go, I'm not that player, you know?
Yeah, lean into the things that you gravitate towards, that inspire you. I was thinking about while you're saying that, one thing that I did is I went through a whole bunch of Brecker solos, especially the pop solos, and I just transcribed the opening phrases.
I heard you say that before. Yeah.
Because
I love his opening phrases.
The way he starts.
So great.
Yeah, Brecker.
It's an offering.
Yeah.
He just goes, here, I'll put that on the table. And then let's set the table around that.
And it's so melodic.
Beautiful.
It's so melodic.
It is.
And then how does he end the solo? Because I feel like the stuff in between is incredible, but it's just so musical, you know, the beginnings and the ends of the phrases. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's such a titan. But there's players like that who are so innovative. They're almost just like push the crowd out of the way because they have so much to say. Coltrane. You know what I mean? And it's not, and then there's the Keith Jarrett's, you know, there's you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not coming with that stuff, right? And that's okay. But there's some players who are they're just overflowing with stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, they leave so much with us. And there's other players who's like, let's see what comes out. You know, I'm going to throw out the playbook and just play. I mean, I love all these Miles things around because, I mean, Miles to me, that was so incredible to see him come out of Bird and Dizzy and stuff and go to the Birth of the Cool. And he was the ultimate, what I was talking about before, it's like, I'm going to play like me, you know? And you hear early nascent Miles and stuff, and it's okay, it's cool. And then you hear when he gets to his stuff, you're like, oh my God, you know? I mean, when you hear like his solo on Milestones, it just plays, there's a few quarter notes in there. They're just so, I mean, I can listen to that on repeat 100 times. Just those quarters. Like, that's amazing to me. Just, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Freddie Hubbard, just where he puts his eights. Like, to me, Freddie's amazing because he's very forward, but it's nicely behind the beat. That's like amazing to me, how forward leaning it is, but still behind the beat. Like, that stuff is fascinating.
The intent, such intention.
Yes.
Let's do a lightning round of questions. Okay, so these can be one-word answers or they could be more.
Okay.
Let's see. Practice room essentials besides the horn.
Metronome tuner.
Okay. Favorite rapper whose flow feels like jazz phrasing.
Ice Cube.
Okay.
Yeah. Ice Cube to me is like Frank Sinatra. from the very beginning. When NWA came out, his just time is perfect. There's some singers like that. Huey Lewis is like that. Just perfect, just grooving so perfectly. And I absolutely see Ice Cube, Frank Sinatra, Huey Lewis in the same stroke.
Oh, I love it. If you weren't a musician, what would you be doing?
Probably physicist. I love little pieces. I love science. I love how things work. I love focus, and that might have been to my detriment sometimes in development because I just can just do one thing. That's like, I don't really have a lot of talent. I really, truly don't. I truly don't. I really do, but I could sit and work on something. So if I could work on the right thing, I could sometimes get it well. Like the flute is actually kind of neat. And to that question is because it's just so simple. It's just, I'm thrilled. I've endorsed D'Addario for 15 years and they're awesome. And I get to play all their stuff. It's great. The flute is just the simplest thing there is. It's just a little hole. That's all it is. And it's the same thing all the time. And if you approach it the same way, it'll do the same thing every single time. You're never changing reeds. And, that kind of simplicity and focus I find really fascinating because it allows me to kind of get way under the microscope and just go, okay, can I play that note in tune right every single time? Bop, 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 bop. Can I do it 1,000 times and not chip the note? That's fascinating to me.
I love it. It's the hard work.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, focus.
Yeah,
focus.
I love it. Most used emoji in your phone?
Probably the fire one. Or maybe the heart.
Okay.
One of those two.
Pad saver, love it or leave it?
Pad saver.
Where you put the fluffy thing inside.
No, terrible. Oh, those are the worst thing in the world. Anybody who's ever got one of those things, throw it away. You leave it in there, the moisture inside dries, the little flakes in there stick in the horn and create leaks. That's the worst thing ever. As a matter of fact, everybody's different in terms of their pH and whatnot. Okay, I know that. So I'm just kind of speaking for me. I don't like. I've swabbed the flute because it's got the fish skin pads are very thin and it's very important to swab that out. I don't swab the saxophone because I don't want to turn the thing upside down, jam something through, turn it back upside down. I think after a while that yanking and twisting is not really great for it. So I'll clean off the mouthpiece, reed, keep the neck clean. But in terms of the horn, I don't really do any of that. You can see I get a little
moisture.
Yeah, I get a little moisture here because, and can we talk a couple of sax things real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So your high G, if you're playing G, your fork G here. A lot of times horns are over adjusted, so the F key that opens there with that is open too high. And you get that. So it's important to make sure that it only opens maybe 2-3 millimeters. And it should be just opened a little bit. But what happens for me a little bit, I'll get a little bead of moisture sometimes in there. So that's why you see me do that sometimes. 3 more things?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So these are just stuff that have helped students that I've mentioned, and maybe they could help you too. I'm a big fan of top teeth in the same place on the mouthpiece as that vermilion line is on your lip. The vermilion line being the line between your lip and the skin of your face, And so, within reason. Yeah, not this. I see people do this. I just don't think you're going to get around the instrument. I use this analogy sometimes when I said, okay, well, you pick that up for me and just use your thumb and your finger. It's like, well, you're going to pick it up like this. You're not going, yeah, I'll grab that for you. Oh, sorry. Let me get that for you. That's not an efficient way to have. So that's 1. 2, if you played a middle B, that's, a flatter note. It's a note that requires, unlike our right hand E flat, D, which are sharp and you have to kind of bring the tongue down and stuff. But a middle B like that, for me, if I play completely slack with not enough pressure to get the reed to vibrate and then bring the pressure up, I'm just about in tune, but just a smidge under, and I'll just bring it right up to there. My point of saying that is play as slack as you can play. You want to just be down. And then your pitch that you adjust to stuff is going to be more tongue height than it is lip pressure. More or less lip pressure means that changes how the reed interfaces with the mouthpiece. You want to keep that a little bit more steady, so at least in the normal range. So, now, that's all tongue. That's not lip at all, getting those notes in tune. So that's 2. 3, and I think this is a really big one. For altissimo stuff, I think it's don't jut the jaw forward. So there's none of that. And I see players go to play altissimo and they jut the jaw forward. So when the reason you use more pressure for altissimo and also arcing the tongue is to bring the reed a little closer towards the tip of the mouthpiece. You want to close it down a little bit. When you jut the jaw forward, you're engaging with the thicker part of the reed here. So when you do that, you have to bite a lot more to get any motion with the reed. So here, when you go forward, it all just falls apart. So what you want to have, unlike the flute, because the embouchure is changing and changing all the time throughout the registers, is really a stationary embouchure, and then the insides are changing. Tongue height, lip pressure, we're using the teeth too for altissimo, and then, yeah, so. There's nothing moving here except more and less pressure. So try not to do that when you play the upper notes. I think you'll have a lot better altissimo stuff.
I love it. Yeah, I just had a student earlier today. We were talking exactly that same thing.
Yeah, I think people do that. It's just a nightmare.
I always think about also the change in your embouchure when you're playing high versus low. And I always say, well, if I were to sing a high note, I wouldn't go to, and I wouldn't go to, right? To.
Right.
It has nothing to do with this. It's all the vocal tract muscles and the tongue position. I love it. Okay. What's your go-to comfort food after a gig?
Oh, man. I like mac and cheese.
Okay.
But I like onion rings and mac and cheese. Those are my comfort foods.
Favorite city to play in and why?
Oh, wow. That's a fantastic question. Well, I'll name a city that I enjoy playing, like Vienna.
Okay.
Like Porgy and Bess in Vienna. A lot of cities in Germany. A lot of European stuff is kind of amazing. I got to tour with the Yellowjackets before, subbing for Minster, and getting to play some of those places. I've just been touring with the Zaunel Legacy Band, playing the music of Weather Report and Joe Zaunel. Great group. My gosh, Omar Hakim, Gerald Veasley, and Rachel Z, and the great Bobby Thomas, the percussionist, played on Weather Report and all that stuff. Anyway, Italy. Like when you get out there, you can have a absolutely packed standing room thing. Absolute silence. Absolute silence. It's really, really cool. I remember we just played in June. We played at Porgy and Bess, the great jazz club in Vienna, and it was great. Amazing crowd, super sold out. And I got to do a little flute feature, and I was playing a Joe Zawinul tune called Harvest. And I kind of just did it with like rhythmic stuff, and I played the melody. And then stopped, and then I did a spoken word. I never saw that you never saw. Shot from a cannonball, never planned to fall because it's plentiful. Town is manifold. Machinations are marvelous. Watch the crops that'll harvest. Hit the target. Then it's sold on the black market. True to the roots of blues. Never refused to as he paid him. Verbatim like Art Tatum faced with an ultimatum. Laying other plays by the wayside. Cover the progression and the bass line. Face finds if you crumble and falter. Piano keys weighted with the rock of Gibraltar. I allude to those who extrude poems. It's true though we don't know where the moon goes bursting. Don't know the first thing. But mercy, mercy, mercy can make a verse thirsty. And I kind of did this whole spoken word that I wrote for Joe. And it's just pin drop, just absolute. Nobody's talking. There's no clinking of glass. It's just like, boom. And then went back into the flute thing and just like and I'll play for applause, but just the appreciation for something that's so quiet like that. It's not a whole band thing. It's just me, the flute, and a little voice thing. And it's just really neat to not be fighting noise, because I think a lot of people don't get that if we're playing, even if we got, it's you and me, we got our horns, we got piano, bass, and drums, and we're playing a tune, and somebody's talking over there, it's like, it's so distracting because we are listening so intently for the smallest thing, rhythmically, pitch, articulation, the changes. Oh, they put a sharp 11 on that. Extensions and chords, all of this thing. So somebody talking is just absolute dissonance. Even just that people don't get it. They think we're like they're talking and the TV's playing. It's like, it's super distracting. So long story longer, situations where it's super focused and absolutely quiet it's amazing because it helps you focus. You go deeper into what you're doing, and then you hopefully bring out something even better for them. And it's just a joy. It makes all those flights worthwhile.
I love it. What's one non-musical hobby that keeps you sane?
Mountain biking, 100%.
Really?
Absolutely.
I think I had heard that.
Fanatic for my whole life.
I think I'd heard maybe it's Dan Cole.
Yeah, Dan's great, right?
Yeah, and you guys often would bike. Yeah,
he's great. Paul Nelson, the trombone player, he takes huge jumps and stuff. I broke some bones trying to do some jumps with him a few years ago, and so I'm kind of staying on the ground. But I like to go fast, and no, it's great. I mean, you're outdoors and you're in nature, and I love going by myself. It's quiet. You could sometimes I have a tune bopping around in my head. When I was trying to work on that 9/4 stuff, I just put on the metronome. Mm-hmm. I'd put on that clave. I'd put it on in my backpack, and I'd ride for 2 hours with the metronome going, singing tunes in my head,
That's such a great idea.
Yeah. I remember I drove to Mammoth to go mountain biking a few years ago, 2 years ago or something. And almost the entire trip, no, maybe for 2 hours in a row, I put on like the iReal Pro with the bar 4, bar 5, unlike the blues, just the blues. And I just sang the entire time. I just was singing. And just trying to learn it, trying to create that groove in the brain record there,
I love it. I'm going to have to try that. Most played artist on your phone right now?
I've been listening to a lot of Fajardo, the great Cuban flute player from back in the 50s. I love that stuff. I love it. I love it. I love this mambo, cha-cha-cha, all of that stuff. But there's a lot of stuff on there. Gosh, what have I been listening to recently? It almost seems crazy schizophrenic, the way I'll jump around stuff. I'll be listening to one thing, and I'll be like, oh, I feel like listening to Rage Against the Machine. And then I'll listen to Tala Scholars. I'll listen to some vocal choir group stuff. And then I'll listen to, whatever. I'll listen to Glenn Gould. And then, I'll listen to AC/DC or, it's just, if you would think this guy is out of his mind. My girlfriend said to me one time, she said, it's almost irritating how many things you like musically, because you just can't pinpoint it. They'd mention something. I'm like, oh yeah, I love that stuff. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, I love that. I'm a huge bluegrass fan. I love bluegrass, I love it.
That's a good problem to have.
I think so. I don't like stuff that's too contrived, too formulaic, too auto-tuned, too what, sometimes that can be like kind of leave me somewhere. And then there's groups that I like, but I don't really have any desire to go see them. I like Coldplay. I like Lady Gaga. I think they're all great. Do I have a desire to go to some stadium to see them? Why? Is Schofield going to come out and play a solo? Is Chris Potter, is there something going to be there for me? Or is it just going to be more dancing and more pyrotechnics? Because that doesn't do that much for me,
right. Favorite sax nerd YouTube rabbit hole topic?
Oh my. Wow, topic. I don't know topic. I'll get into just finding cool like Eddie Harris videos and things like that, or some Ben Webster or something like really funky and old, Johnny Hodges. In terms of topic stuff, though, I don't change gear very much, so I almost am afraid to get too many. I should do one of those things. And way back in the day, I had all the fancy pants, ligatures with the pads on them. I did all that stuff. Mouthpieces with the putty in there, and and this metal and that metal. And now everything I play is just hard rubber, no baffles, brass ligatures. That's it, one and done. And then just try to get all the colors I need out of that. There's no baffles. There's no tricks, nothing.
This is your baffle.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love it.
And inevitably, things just get funky. You get less control. I want to be able to. I don't know if they can hear that.
Yeah, in case you were wondering, he's playing a note.
Yeah, without spit noise, without that's kind of it for me. I don't want to have to go. I don't want to have a big, same with the flute, a big parade before the sound comes on. And so a setup that's light enough for me, and I play pretty light setups because I really try to I spend at least half my time on the flute. And so I need to I can't have chops of doom. I don't play clarinet anymore. I studied it for years. I hated playing it. So I just flutes, saxophones, that's the thing. And I play pretty light setups because if it's really hard, it's probably going to develop muscles here that are already too developed to get a good flute sound. So I just try to not.
Well, it's working.
I stay in my little lane. There's a lot of things I'm not right for, but hopefully the things that I am are, benefiting the world,
Well, most definitely. Let's end our portion, and we'll check and see if there's any questions there on the live stream. But with this question, if your saxophone could freestyle, who would it sound like?
Oh, wow. Freestyle like rap?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Never even thought of that. Well, I would love to say like Eminem, honestly, because Eminem's time is ridiculous. He has tons of different colors. I mean, you hear his flow in the smallest intricacy of swing gradient. It's really phenomenal. So I would love it if it was that. That would be great. But it would be lots of different colors. I'd love to get Q-Tip out of that. Just vibey, mellow, laid back, pocket. Ice Cube, big, funky, super grooving. Rakim, just absolute, the greatest of all time. Just, that just absolute pocket, beautiful, rich sound. I mean, that would be great too.
Let's just check. I'm going to check and see if we have any questions. Hello, Katisse. You said Michael Brecker didn't spend much time on transcription solos.
Later on,
okay.
Not early.
And my question is, do you do much transcription? And if so, what are your favorite solos to transcribe? Who inspires you for your sound?
Great question. In recent years, no, I don't transcribe whole solos. Like, I just don't have the patience to do it. I don't have the desire to do it. I'll listen really intently, and I'll grab lots of lines. I'll grab riffs. I'll grab like that little thing that I showed right there. That bit, but no, I mean, I'll listen and I'll have an idea of what's going on, right? And just kind of harmonically, like, oh, that was cool. What's that? Oh, it's like. And it's like I've learned that stuff, some like the Coltrane licks, like those half whole things. But inevitably, if I start doing a transcription, I'm going to get onto some line that I like, and I'm going to go left on it. I just am. Like if there's just like. I'm going to get off on some cool, I'm going to just try to put it in. I'm super itching to play stuff in 12 keys. That I don't have the patience to do whole solos because I'll take the things that I like and I just want to play it in different keys. I just want to like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, this thing goes up in, I'll take a lot of things from classical etude books and I'll like steal them from the flute thing. Like it was like, okay. So try to see how it transposes like. Like that's more interesting to me is to get in something and break it apart. Like when it was like a little kid who likes to take apart a phone or something. Again, it gets back to the pieces and that scientist thing. I listen. Like I have whole solos that I could sing. I'm not a singer and I don't have perfect pitch, but I mean, I could just, I could sing along with the thing. I know the whole thing and that's great, but I don't really want to have, you know, all of these solos at the ready. And honestly, and this is nothing against anybody who transcribes a lot. It's great. If that works for you, do it. Wonderful. And there's plenty of incredible results that we have with wonderful players who do that. I don't want to have a bunch of full melodic lines at the ready. And I can make the analogy of if you and I are having a conversation and it's this really fun, riveting conversation. And, you know, you say something to me and I say, well, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. You're like, okay, great. Then you said another thing. I said, well, now is the winner of our discontent. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for you. It's like, all right, with the quotes, like, what are you talking about? So if I had some cool line that I transcribed and I just played and working on it, and I kind of shoehorned it into a solo, I would have the musical equivalent after having played it, the musical equivalent of like, what were we talking about? I just don't hear that way. I want to just try to, and not everything, I'm not happy with a lot of stuff I play, but I could show you solos that I play with just a nugget here and there where like, that was happening. That little thing right there. That's what I'm searching for. I'm searching for that little nugget, the thing that Gil Evans talked about with Miles Davis, just that little bit of magic in there that comes from playing with no safety net and no preconceived stuff. Now that's just me. Everybody's different. I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. And somebody might listen to me and say, that dude should transcribe more because he sounds crappy. Okay. That's fine. That's totally okay, you know? And not everybody does it the same way.
Yeah, I mean, well, we do know that Record definitely transcribed a whole bunch of entire like Joe Henderson solos, all that stuff early on. But then, you know, it's really, what do you gravitate towards and what do you want to spend your time on and be efficient with? You know, if grabbing just the stuff that you really are inspired by.
I did.
Yeah.
I've transcribed Brecker's whole Brecker solos. I've transcribed Sonny Stitt, Paul Desmond. On flute, there's a whole different conversation, but I haven't ever transcribed a flute solo because I don't honestly want to sound like any jazz flute player in history. But I've transcribed a lot of guitar, Joe Pass, Pat Martino, Jim Hall, a lot of piano, a lot of Bill Evans, and trumpet. Clifford Brown, tons of stuff like that. So trumpet, piano, guitar, is that like on flute stuff? And then, yeah, of course I transcribed Joe Henderson, Wayne Shorter, all of that. But now I don't really want to. Like I'll listen.
No.
I'll listen a bunch and just grab stuff that I like and then just break it open and get my hands on it.
Yeah, I think I don't remember if I was at a Joe Lovano clinic or I saw this on a video, but I think I was there and somebody asked that question, you know, what solos have you transcribed or what do you suggest? And he said, I've never transcribed an entire solo in my life. And I just take
so good.
Yeah, he
so
said, I
prolific.
just take the bits and pieces that I like and I use those.
Absolutely. Absolutely. God bless you, Joe.
Here.
I'll tell you what's tricky. I'm going to interrupt one second. It's tricky showing some things you practice in a performance-esque setting. It's because I never do that. Yeah. You know, you play, you stay in your comfort zone and you do your best there. But, putting on a click at every 18 clicks and trying to play in 9. It's like, it's nerve-wracking.
Well, and honestly, the most challenging, I would say, audience and playing performance situation is when you're playing or performing in front of your peers.
Oh, yeah.
Because they know exactly.
It's the sax thing, too.
They're listening to everything. They know what to listen for.
I'll be extra honest with you guys. Like, if this somehow was like a flute thing for sax players, or even a flute thing for flute players, as in classical players who want to learn to improvise more, it's like, I'm a pig in you-know-what. Like, I feel, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I had to play in Dallas last weekend. It was alto and flute. So I just flew in yesterday. And so I wanted to be in here on tenor. So some notes get away from me, crack notes here and there. It's like, I'm not doing that on flute. My flute is money. You know what I mean? So it's embarrassing when you're not perfect, especially as somebody who is a studio player, because you're like, let me punch the last 3 notes. It's like you get that ability to put your best foot forward all the time.
I went to a Palm Royale. Jeff Toyne did a event at a recording studio, and you were in the section.
Oh, we didn't get to say hi?
We didn't get to say hi, but I meant to.
Yeah, we just finished the music for season 2.
Great.
And if you guys don't know, I got to be featured a bit on Palm Royale. It's an Apple TV show. And last year, we won the Emmy for Best Theme Song.
Yeah,
on TV show. So that's pretty cool. And this year, for this one, I've been stacking up the entire sax section myself at home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to do a whole bunch of 2 altos, 2 tenors, bari, or even 2 baris, and then flute solos and some orchestral things too. So Jeff's awesome. Jeff's a great writer, great dude, and I really enjoy his stuff. Super fun.
Yeah. Well, great. Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there. And thanks so much for being here, man. It's just been amazing.
Thanks, everybody. Sorry about the crack notes. Doing my best.
Wow, what an incredible session with Katisse Buckingham. This made me walk away inspired to think differently about sound, rhythm, and creativity. The way he approaches making vocabulary your own and how he connects that to odd time practice and phrasing is just next level. If you got value out of this masterclass, definitely check out Katisse's Flute Tips for Sax Players membership. Inside, you get detailed video lessons, warm-up PDFs, and practical exercises to help you make each tip a seamless part of your playing. And if you want to keep growing with next level sax, here are a few great next steps. Grab the Jazz Saxophone Standards Etudes Workbook. 70-plus pages of full etudes and exercises for tunes like All the Things You Are, Giant Steps, Cherokee, Rhythm Changes, Blues, and Stella by Starlight. It's available for just $1 right now with the promo code NEXTLEVEL, and it's a perfect way to apply everything we talk about here directly to your horn. Next, explore the Modern Pentatonics Crash Course. You'll learn how to unlock modern jazz sounds with 5 notes through a 95-page workbook, 5 demonstration videos, and visual diagrams to make complex concepts easy to understand. And don't forget about the Jazz Saxophone Blueprint, my complete digital course on mastering tone, articulation, and time feel, with 25 HD video lessons, a 179-page workbook, and the 200 Jazz Phrases bonus book. If you enjoyed this masterclass, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future interviews and lessons with incredible artists like Katisse. And if you want to go even deeper, join the Next Level Sax community, where I post new lessons and PDFs each week and host live masterclasses where members can ask their questions directly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy practicing.